Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. The paper we are solving today is IGCSE Chemistry May-June 2024 and this is the MCQ paper, paper number 23. Now, let's start with the first question. Sodium chloride is a liquid at 900 degrees Celsius, alright. So they are simply asking you the arrangement and the motion of particles. We know that liquids have random motion of particles, random arrangement of particles, and they also move randomly. So option D will be the correct one. Vibration only happens mainly in the solids. That is why option D is the correct answer here. Now, question number 2, it's a good question. Understand this. They are saying that hydrogen chloride is present here, ammonia is present here. Alright. Hydrogen chloride's mass is nearly 36.5 and ammonia's mass is nearly 70. Alright. Then it says that after a few minutes, a white cloud of solid ammonium chloride is formed where the two gases meet. So they're saying that when you release both of them at the same time, the HCl gas is only able to travel this distance, but at the same time, ammonia can travel much more distance because it is lighter in weight. Very basic logic. Then they're asking you now, in place of hydrogen chloride, the experiment is repeated using hydrogen bromide. So earlier you had hydrogen chloride, now you're using hydrogen bromide. Hydrogen bromide is even heavy than HCl. So then they're asking you that where will the white cloud form? See, just think about it. At B point, they should have met if this was HCl and if this was ammonia, which it is, right? But now they're not using HCl, they are using even heavier gas. So they will meet at point A because hydrogen bromide is more heavy than HCl, so it will take even more time to travel. But ammonia will travel more. So that is why option A is the correct answer here. Question 3. Substances P and Q both conduct electricity. This is the point that if they are conducting electricity, they should be metals. Then it is saying P is a mixture of two different types of atoms. Now see, if it is conducting electricity and if it is a mixture of two atoms, so it must be an alloy. And Q is made up of only one type of atom, so it must be some element. So P must be alloy and Q must be element. Option A is the correct answer. Next question. An atom of element R contains 15 protons. You can directly see this in the periodic table. Phosphorus has the atomic number of 15. Protons directly represent the atomic number, so phosphorus is the answer here. Next question. Which molecule contains double covalent bond between two atoms of the same element? Now, if you look at the structure of carbon dioxide, it is like this. If you look at the structure of ethanol, ethanol looks like this. If you look at the structure of ethene, ethene looks like this. And if you look at the structure of nitrogen, it looks like this. Now, let's read the statement again. Double covalent bond between two atoms of the same element. Is this a double covalent bond between two atoms of same element? No, these two elements are different. CO2 is incorrect. In ethanol, double bond itself is not there. Cancel this. In nitrogen, is it a double bond or a triple bond? It is a triple bond. Incorrect. But if you look at this here, C2H4, this is a double covalent bond between two atoms of the same element, which is carbon. So that is why ethene is the correct answer here. Alright, now let's move on to the next question. Silicon oxide is a covalently bonded compound. Correct. Now, silicon atoms form 4 single bonds. Yes, this is true. It does form 4 single bonds. Oxygen atoms form 2 double bonds in the silicon oxide. No, it is not right. Silicon oxide has a high melting point. True. Silicon oxide contains 1 silicon atom and 4 oxygen atoms. No, it is not right. Silicon oxide is SiO2. So how are there 4 oxygen atoms? There are only 2. So statement 1 and 3 is correct, which is option number B. Next question. The equation for the reaction iron oxide with carbon monoxide is shown. What is the percentage yield of iron when 16.8 grams of carbon monoxide reacts? Alright. So they're asking you the percentage yield here. We know that percentage yield is given by actual yield by theoretical yield into 100. And actual yield is always given in the question, just like they're mentioning here, to form this much iron. And you're trying to find the percentage yield of iron. So this given here is the actual yield. The theoretical yield is the one that we will find out using stoichiometry. So let's get started. They have given us the mass for carbon monoxide. So what I'll do first is I will divide 16.8, and what is the mass of carbon monoxide? 12 plus 16, which is 28. So 16.8 divided by 28 is coming out to be 0.6 moles of carbon monoxide. Now we check the ratio between carbon monoxide and iron. It is 3:2. So the moles will be 0.6 times 2 by 3, which is 1.2 by 3. That is 0.4 moles of iron. Alright. Now we need to find the mass of iron. So we know that moles is equals to given mass by atomic mass. In this case, you know the moles, which are 0.4. Given mass you are trying to find. Atomic mass of iron will be 56, let's say. So given mass will be equals to 0.4 times 56, which is coming out to be equal to 22.4 grams. So this is your theoretical yield. Now, you know the actual yield 16.8, theoretical yield is 22.4, theoretical yield into 100. So 16.8 into 100 divided by 22.4. Answer is coming out to be 75%. 75%. Have we made a mistake here? Yes. See, the actual yield was not 16.8, the actual yield was 8.96. We are talking about iron here, right? So the actual yield in place of this, it will be 8.96. That is a mistake which I made. 8.96 divided by 22.4 into 100. So the answer is coming out to be 40%. There was a simple one error in this question. I took 16.8 instead of 8.96. So make sure of that you take 8.96, not 16.8. Now, question number 8. What is the volume of 14.6 grams of butane? For this, we simply need to find the moles first, and moles will be found using the formula. I'll solve it here. Moles you can find by doing given mass by molecular mass. Given mass is how much? 14.5. And we will have to calculate the mass of butane, which is 58 nearby. So you get 14.5 divided by 58, which is 0.25 moles. Now we know that 1 mole of any gas occupies 22.4 decimeter cube. So 0.25 times 22.4. Answer will be 5.6 decimeter cube. So the closest answer is D. That is the answer. Next question. Aqueous copper sulfate is electrolyzed using copper electrodes. Alright. Which statement describes what happens during electrolysis? Alright. Let's discuss this. Just give me 1 minute. I'll erase all this. Now, aqueous copper sulfate is electrolyzed, alright. They're using reactive electrodes here, alright. Copper atoms gain electrons at cathode. See, at cathode, we know that reduction takes place. And we know that positive ions move towards cathode. But now it is saying copper atoms will gain electrons to form Cu with a charge of negative. Copper atoms will never gain electrons, they will lose electrons. Copper atoms, these are metals, they lose electrons. Statement A is incorrect. Electrons move in the external circuit from positive electrode to the negative electrode. Positive electrode is anode, negative electrode is cathode. And at anode, loss of electrons takes place, and at cathode, gain of electrons takes place. So you can see the cycle here that anode must be losing electrons, and these lost electrons through the external circuit must be traveling to the cathode. Right? So statement 2 is correct. Option B is correct. Copper ions move through the electrolyte from cathode to anode. The issue here is that anode is the negative charged electrode, right? Why would negative charge attract copper 2 plus ions? Sorry, my bad. Anode is the positively charged electrode. For this, you can remember the mnemonic panic, which says that positive anode, negative is cathode. So, anode is a positively charged electrode. Why will it attract positive ions? Makes no sense. Option C is incorrect. Copper is formed at cathode and oxygen is formed at anode. In this case, copper is formed at cathode, but oxygen is not formed at anode. So this is also incorrect. Option B is the correct answer. Alright, now let's move on to the next question. Electrolysis is carried out aqueous potassium bromide. So we know that the ions present will be K plus, H plus, OH minus, Br minus. At cathode, the less reactive cation goes to cathode. So the equation will be 2H plus 2 electrons giving H2. For anode, again, if you have to decide between hydroxide ion and the halide ion in concentrated solution, so the halide ion is always preferred. There are a lot of reasons to it, but we're just solving this, so I'll tell you the answer directly. So 2Br minus is equals to Br2 plus 2 electrons. So at cathode, hydrogen must be there, and at anode, bromine should be there. So option A is the correct one. Hydrogen oxygen fuel cells and gasoline are used to power cars, alright. Which statement tells you the advantage of using hydrogen oxygen fuel cell in our cars, alright, compared to gasoline engines? So hydrogen is a non-renewable resource? No. Hydrogen is produced during fractional distillation of petroleum? No. Hydrogen oxygen fuel cells do not release CO2. This is the advantage, right? So the option will be C. Hydrogen oxygen fuel cells need electricity to work. This is not an advantage. So advantage is option number C. That is the correct answer. Now let's move on to the next question. Plant cells use energy from sunlight for photosynthesis. This is true. All right. So when it is using energy means it is utilizing energy. So there must be supply of energy. So the reaction should be endothermic. That is true. Options C and D are out of the options. Now, less energy is released in making bonds than it is absorbed to break the bonds. So what this statement is saying is that if loss of energy was 200 kilojoules, the gain of energy is 300 kilojoules. Gain is 300, loss is 200. What do you think? Overall, is the energy increased? Yes, because the loss was 200 but you have gained 300. So extra energy you have now is 100. So statement A is the correct answer. Now, next question. Which reaction pathway for an endothermic reaction is shown when a catalyst is used? Alright, see, just think about it. What a catalyst does is it decreases the activation energy, right? And in endothermic reactions, this complete is the activation energy. The reactant should stay at U and the product should also stay at V. Let's check. Reactant is at U. Is the product at V? No. This option is wrong. Reactant should be at U. Product should be at V. Incorrect. Reactant should be at U. Product is at V. This looks fine. And in option D as well, reactant is at U. Product is at V. Alright. Now you have to check which one needed more activation energy. Here you can simply see this activation energy, and here you can see it is this much. So option C is the correct one. Lowest activation energy, and you have to make sure that the products stay on the same level, the reactants stay on the same level. It's only that the activation energy will decrease. That is why we went with option C. Now, next question. Which process is a physical change? So, melting is a physical change. Option C will be the correct one. The contact process is used to convert sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide. Alright. And we know that pressure in this case is used as 2 atm. And pressure is mainly just to reduce the expenses. So, a low pressure is used to keep the cost low. True. Catalyst increases the rate of forward and backward reaction. This is also true. Low pressure increases the yield of sulfur trioxide. No, this is incorrect. In contact process, if you increase the pressure, the yield increases. But they are saying low pressure. No, incorrect. High temperature increases the yield. No, this is exothermic reaction. In exothermic reactions, low temperatures increase the yield. So this is also incorrect. So statement 1 and 3 is correct, which is the option B. Next question. An equation is shown, alright. In an experiment, the total volume produced was 100 centimeter cube, alright. The experiment is repeated, so they are adding a catalyst here now, and they are asking you, will there be any change? See, when you add a catalyst, the time taken for the reaction decreases. But it does not mean the product will change. The amount of product or the amount of reactant ultimately will stay the same. It's only that when you're using a catalyst, the reaction will take 10 minutes. And when you're not using a catalyst, it might take 15 minutes. But ultimate product, the amount will be the same. And catalyst does not get used up in a reaction. So mass of catalyst will stay the same and the volume of the product formed will stay the same as well. Option C is the correct answer. Nitrogen reacts with hydrogen to form ammonia, alright. And it is a reversible reaction, alright. Iron catalyst decreases the activation energy of the only the forward reaction. No, this is incorrect. Catalyst, first of all, does not affect equilibrium. And when you use a catalyst, catalyst decreases the activation energy of both the forward as well as the backward reaction. Incorrect. When equilibrium is reached, forward reaction is stopped. No. When the pressure changes, the concentration remains constant. When the pressure changes, then the concentration of ammonia, see, when you are increasing the pressure, the concentration of ammonia increases. And when you decrease it, it decreases the concentration of ammonia. Long story short, you can just remember pressure will change the concentration of reactants or products if the number of gaseous molecules are different, and it is different in this case. Nitrogen, hydrogen never completely convert to ammonia. True. This reaction is reversible and it is under equilibrium. Equilibrium does not finish off 100%. The reaction does never finish off. There is always some amount of nitrogen, hydrogen remaining. Alright. Now, potassium iodide, alright. So see, in here, iodide ion has -1 charge. But here it is in elemental form, the charge is 0. Now if you look at iodine, it is going from -1 charge to 0. What is this? This is loss of electrons. And loss of electrons is oxidation. And we remember what gets oxidized is the reducing agent. So iodide ions are the reducing agent. And why? Because there is loss of electrons. So option C is the correct answer. Now, next question. Element E is in the group 2 of the periodic table. Which row describes? See, if it is in group 2, it must be a metal and metal oxides are basic. Option B is the correct one. Lead iodide is formed as a precipitate. All right, so this is a precipitation reaction. We know that precipitates are insoluble salts, so they do not mix with water. They will not mix with water. And if they're not mixing with water, you can simply do filtration. Which statement explains why sulfur has similar chemical properties to selenium? All right. If you look at the periodic table, you will find oxygen, sulfur, selenium. They are in the same group. And if they're in the same group, they will have same number of valence electrons. Valence electrons tell you the chemical properties. So option A is the correct one. Next question. Atoms of sodium, rubidium and another element is given. They have the same one outer shell electron. Meaning they should be in the same group. If they have the same valence electrons, they should be in the same group. Alright. And you can see that the melting point is decreasing. Boiling point is decreasing, but the density is increasing. So this element must be below the periodic table, means below the sodium or rubidium. And if you look at the periodic table, you will find lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. They have given you sodium and rubidium. So the element must be below. Cesium or francium must be the answer. Have they given you francium? No. Have they given you cesium? Yes. Option D is the correct answer. Next question. Which statement about elements in group 8 is correct? They have a full outer shell of electrons. True. They all react. They do not react. They are diatomic. No, they are monoatomic. They are liquids. Not all of them. Option A is the correct answer. The electrical conductivity of magnesium is tested, all right. Magnesium is then added to dilute sulfuric acid, all right. So when you add metal to an acid, hydrogen gas is produced and metal is good conductor. So good and gas will be hydrogen. So option A is the correct one. Next question, aluminium metal is extracted from its purified ore by electrolysis, all right. Which statement is correct? The electrolyte is purified molten bauxite only? No. Molten bauxite is used with the cryolite, right? Cryolite decreases the melting point. So the electrolyte is purified bauxite dissolved in molten cryolite. Option B is correct. The electrolyte is pure only? No. Electrolyte is purified chloride. Electrolyte is the bauxite. Cryolite is just used. So option B is the correct answer. Part of reactivity series is shown. All right, we know the reactivity series. So they have shown you potassium, they are showing you calcium, they are showing you aluminum. So sodium must be there, magnesium must be there. So option B is the correct one. Some substances found in water extracted from a river are listed, which are harmful. Plastics are harmful, nitrates are harmful. Nitrates, what they do is they increase the growth of aquatic plants in the water bodies. So that is also one issue because it consumes oxygen and consumes CO2 as well. Plants, when they respire, they use up the oxygen. So that is one of the issues. So option 1 and 2, option A will be the correct one. Next question. Car engines which use gasoline as a fuel to produce oxygen of nitrogen and oxides of nitrogen are removed from the exhaust gases. All right. Which statement is correct? Gasoline reacts with nitrogen? No. Nitrogen reacts with oxygen present in the air to form oxides of nitrogen. Gasoline contains nitrogen? Incorrect. Nitrogen and oxygen react at high temperatures to produce oxides of nitrogen. This seems right. And nitrogen monoxide reacts with carbon monoxide. Yes, this is true. Nitrogen monoxide reacts with carbon monoxide to form N2 and CO2. These are the less toxic forms. And then they are released in the atmosphere. So statement 3 and 4 is correct, means option D is the correct answer. Which structures represent a pair of structural isomers? So we will have to draw all of them. The first one is the most simplest one. How many carbon atoms are there? 6. Have I drawn 6? Yes. The second one, 5 are in series, the other 2 are branched. So it will look like this. I'm not drawing the hydrogens. Now this one, it looks like this. On top of it, when they put a bracket, means it is branched. Then you draw rest of them as it is. Then the fourth one, 1, 2. Now you can see a bracket again. So you branch it. Then you draw the chain. I think that's it. Now we need to check which one are the structural isomers. See, for structural isomers to be true, the molecular formula should be same. This one has 6 atoms, 6 carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one has 7. So these two are not. This one has 6 atoms and this one also had 6 atoms, and the structure also looks to be the different. So structure is different but the molecular formula is same. Those are isomers, yes. So 1 and 3 is correct. Alright. Now why these are not isomers? See, it's very simple. If you just try to compare both of them, the third and the fourth is exactly the same one. It's just inverted and twisted. The position of carbon is the same. So that is why option B is the correct one. Next question. Alkanes are homologous series of hydrocarbons. Alright, we know that. See, as the number of carbon atoms increases, the boiling point also increases. And the formula for butane, not butane, they're asking for pentane, right? So pentane will have the formula C5H12. How do I know this? You can use the general formula CnH2n plus 2. 5 carbon atoms, so this will become 12. So C5H12 should be the answer, and the boiling point should be more than 0 degrees Celsius, which is 36. So option D is the correct answer. Next question. Which displayed formula represents the ester formed by reaction? This question we have done a multiple times. Different types of questions are there in like this in the past papers. You simply need to remember propanol will form propyl and ethanoic acid will form ethanoate. Meaning the acid group will only be 2 carbons, but the other group should be 3 carbons, like this. The acid group mainly it is 2 carbons and the group other right next to the other oxygen is 3 carbons. So this looks correct. Now the acid group is 3 carbons here, not possible. You had ethanoic acid, a 2 carbon acid. How is it 3? Not possible. This is also 3, not possible. Now if you check here, this is a 2 carbon acid group, correct, but this is a 2 carbon alcohol group, not correct. You had propanol, so there should be 3 carbons. Option A is the correct one. Ethanol can be manufactured by fermentation and by catalytic addition of steam to ethene. Which statement identifies advantage of using? See, ethene is a non-renewable resource, but fermentation, yeast is used along with glucose, that is a renewable resource. That is the advantage, the primary advantage. Alright, so option D is the correct one. Which statement about carboxylic acids is correct? See, acid will react with alkali to form salt and water. This is true. Acid will react with metals to form salt and water. No, acids react with metals just like HCl reacts with magnesium to form salt and hydrogen gas, not water. B is incorrect. They react with metal carbonates. Yes, they do. But they form salt, CO2 and water. Not salt, water and hydrogen. Incorrect. General formula for carboxylic acid is CnH2n plus 1 OH. No, this is for alcohols, not for acids. Option D is incorrect. Option A is the correct answer here. Next question. The structure of a polymer is shown. We can clearly see this is a polyamide. Alkenes are polymerized? No. It is a polyester? No. It is an additional polymer? No. Water is produced from when the polymer is made? Yes. When you combine these two molecules, I'll show you one example. These molecules actually look like this. When you combine these two molecules, water is lost. This will be lost. Only then the bonding like this is possible. In between, right? See the linkage here? This is only possible because water must have been lost. Plus, these are condensation polymers. In condensation polymers, the name itself tells that water will be lost. So, water is produced as a secondary product. Now, Methane undergoes substitution, yes, we know this. And complete combustion, yes, we know this. Alright, what are they asking? Condition for reaction with chlorine, it should be ultraviolet sunlight, ultraviolet light. And equation for complete combustion, we know that CO2H2O will be formed. So methane plus oxygen will be CO2H2O, which is option number D. Next question, what is used to identify the end point of acid-base titration? Indicator is always used when the indicator changes color, then only acid base titration is finished. So option C is the correct one. Four pure substances PQRS are tested using chromatography. The same solvent is used each time. They're asking you which are identical. So for this, we can simply use the formula that RF value is the distance traveled by solute divided by solvent. So we simply need to find the two samples having same RF value, they must be identical. And if you simply do 4.5 by 10 and 13.5 by 30, with basic maths you can check this out. The answer will come out to be P and S, which is option B. You simply need to check which ones have similar RF value, same RF value, those are the pure substances. Question number 39. A substance is tested with three different reagents. Which row shows the results obtained with aqueous iron nitrate? So this contains iron 2 plus and NO3 minus 1. So the result with aqueous sodium hydroxide, we know that iron gives green precipitate which is insoluble in excess. So our answer should be out of A and B, C and D gets cancelled. Now, if you check for silver nitrate test and barium nitrate test, silver nitrate is used to check for halide ions like F minus, Cl minus, Br minus, these ones. And barium nitrate is used to check for sulfate ions. How do I know this? You have to remember the salt analysis sheet in this case that I will show you here. Just 1 minute. See. So, for the test for sulfur ions, you can see, let me just edit this. So you can see for the test for sulfur ions, you need barium nitrate, alright? And for iodide, bromide, chloride, you need silver nitrate. But do we have these two ions in the solution? No, we only have nitrate and iron. So there will be no reaction in both of them, alright? So no reaction will be there. So no reaction, no reaction. Option A is the correct answer. Next question. A student carries out a flame test on sample. The flame color is observed as light green. Light green color is given off by barium ions. We need to remember this. The color changes we need to remember. So the answer is A. Alright. Now, question number 13. Two different experiments are done to find the enthalpy change, alright. The temperature of each reaction mixture is measured at the beginning and after 3 minutes, alright. Now we can see here that the temperature is 26 degrees Celsius and the temperature here is nearly 17 degrees Celsius. So there is a decrease in temperature of the reaction mixture. When there is a decrease in temperature of reaction mixture, means the energy got absorbed. That is why it is decreasing. So it should be positive and endothermic. We have only one option which is correct, C. Let's also look at experiment 2. This is 24 degrees Celsius here and this is nearly 40 degrees Celsius here. So you can see that the temperature is increasing. This is because the reaction mixture must have released energy. Alright, so the answer should be negative and exothermic. So option C is the correct answer.